Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new show of Health and Wellness. Now, the history of this show is basically since pandemic 2020 started, I've been on live daily, giving lots of different types of social media live talks with the top psychologists and authors and researchers around the world. On one particular show, and then another one, it was my daily coaching, psychological flexibility show. And both these shows did very well. We also have an business economy show called Leaders, where we bring on leaders in economy and business to try help everybody regarding getting through these difficult times. But what I think was missing, and this is where health and wellness comes to fill that gap, is physical wellness, physical fitness, physical wellness, whatever you want to call it. It's about being physically flexible. That's metabolically flexible, knowing when your body, knowing when it can burn carbohydrates or when it can burn fats. It's about being physically well, meaning no matter where you are at the moment, there is something you can do to optimize your physical health. Now, I'm situated here in the United Kingdom, and just these days, the Prime Minister is announcing how being obese can be very disadvantageous regarding COVID-19. And the United Kingdom are just bringing out now a campaign to try and combat obesity. Now, I myself have been on a physical fitness journey for quite a few years now. And in the last few years, I took a private trainer and been training in the gyms and so on, and trying to get myself physically fit after being quite a heavy weight for a number of years. And I managed with that to lose about 30 kilograms. But I had a particular 10 kilograms that for some reason, for a number of years, did not move, no matter how many squats and star jumps and runs and goodness knows what I did, nothing would move. And then, of course, COVID-19 came, and that kind of just put a stop to all my gym and my personal trainer. But very recently, I discovered drinking ketones, and by that, it kind of got me into that keto kind of way of living. And lo and behold, I've lost half of those 10 kilos that I'm wanting to lose in 3 months. And I've never felt more energized, and I've never felt more healthier than in the last maybe 20 years. And that's, maybe an understatement. In any case, in my journey and looking for people, I came across this wonderful woman who had shown some pictures of before and after on one of those keto groups. And I got in touch with her and asked, would she be willing to on and basically be part of my pilot in my health and wellness show. And so she very, very kindly and courageously, may I say, agreed. And so I'd like to welcome in from the green room, Joannes Worth from St. Louis in Missouri. Hello there, Joannes.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So first of all, you're very brave, and I appreciate that coming on. We don't really know each other. We've had a little couple of weeks of back and forward on Messenger, but I was so impressed with your journey that I had to ask you if you were willing to come on and tell others about it. And you were so enthusiastic about it that it really kind of gave me encouragement to do this. I had been thinking about this type of program for quite a while, and things get in the way, and you're always distracted one way or another. But your enthusiasm for coming on, telling people your journey, really gave me the enthusiasm to actually get up and running and get this going. So thank you very much, Joannes, for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So basically, maybe you can tell us. First of all, you're from St. Louis, if I'm correct, and in Missouri. Just give us an idea where about in the United States that is.
Well, we're right in the Midwest. We're right kind of in the middle next to Illinois and Oklahoma. And so, yeah, we're kind of right smack dab in the middle.
Right, wonderful. And you're 6 hours behind the UK time.
Right.
So there's quite a big time zone distance between us. So you're kind of midday just now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. It's 11 in the morning here. So,
okay, wonderful. So you've been on a journey for quite a while now, I understand. What was the beginning of your journey? Why did you decide to go on this journey of fat loss? And how did it start out for you?
well, it's been a process. I've been on it for a long, long time. Um, Basically, the older I get, the weight was really making me feel way more unhealthy than it was when I was younger, obviously. So doctors who said, hey, your health is going to decline if you don't get some of this weight off, and just wanting to feel better and be part of my kids' lives instead of watching it from the couch. So that's what started me on a weight loss journey, but I went through a lot of different bumps and valleys and before I came to where I am today.
And over these bumps and valleys, what was it that kept you on the journey, kept you going? Because I suppose at some points in time, I know for me it was, you get kind of down like, oh, this is not working. I'm not going to be able to do this. All sorts of thoughts might have come into your own head about self-judgment and why you're not why it happens to everybody else, but not to me.
Mm-hmm.
How did you manage to motivate yourself through this?
Oh, it was hard. A lot reaching out to the people that support me in my journey. And again, I would say that my kids were a big part of it. So I have an 11-year-old and I have a 16-year-old and I have a 23-year-old. So they're really spaced out. So, I still have an 11-year-old who wants his mom to go swimming and wants his mom to do all these different things. And I was so sluggish and tired and just kind of wanted to sit at home on the couch. And so it was really just a want to be with my kids and in my kids' lives and just want to feel healthier for me. I want to be around to see them get married and have children. And so it was just they were really a big motivating factor.
Well, that's wonderful. So there's a couple of things that I can hear from you. First of all, there's that importance for you of your own health. You want to live longer, you want to live healthier, but you also have that importance of being there for your family, for your children, and joining in life with them and being able to do activities that they want you to do as well. So that's a wonderful thing. It shows that kind of values of life that you have, and that would keeps you going in times of difficulty, I would say. And we all have difficulties. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this show and invite you on particularly is because it's not an easy journey, generally speaking.
No.
We go through it. There's lots of advice that the world has given us about the right things to eat, the right things to do. And they found out, recently that might have been completely wrong for maybe 20 or 30 years.
Right.
And whereas, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, the biggest problem in the world was starvation. Now the biggest problem in the world is obesity. And this is something that we really need to tackle as a society, as a world entity, if we want to be healthy people. And so that's why I admire you very much, because not only are you doing this for yourself and for your family, quite rightly, but you are willing to come on and try and encourage and help other people. What is motivating you for that then, Joanna?
Well, I just know how hard it has been for me, and just it's still a struggle every day. Um, I I know how hard it's been for me, and I just want to let people know that it is possible, one day at a time, and just to find whatever they need, whatever. So my strength was, at first it was my children and my health, and then I started feeling, you know, better and started thinking I really like the way I feel. And then on days when I didn't do perfect, because believe me, I still have those days, I noticed that my body is, I feel horrible, and I'm bloated, my stomach hurts, I'm tired. And so if you just give it the time to see the difference in how you feel, and so it wasn't as much about how I looked anymore. It was about how I felt. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to have energy. I didn't want my stomach to hurt. I did, so the motivating factors for me changed as my journey moved along. But I had to start with, I really just want to live life and not watch it from the couch.
Oh, I think that's absolutely beautiful, and it reminds me of something really important that a friend of mine, who's a cosmetic surgeon of all people, and he says, there are some people that come into him that are coming for cosmetic surgery. Some come because they've got injuries and they need to be, patched up, basically. But there are those who come in who are stunningly beautiful in many ways, but feel that they're not, and come in for surgery. And even when the surgery is over, they don't see that there's a change. And I think that is a really important thing to understand. And you touched on it there. If it was how I looked to begin with, it metamorphosized into something more important and deeper of how do I feel, an internal thing. Because how do I look is kind of, well, how do I look when I look in the mirror or when people look at me? But what you're getting at is, how do I feel for myself? How do I feel when I'm really feeling healthier inside? I'm feeling I can move better. I'm feeling I can participate in things that are important to me better. And that's more of an emotional stability, more of an emotional attachment to, what, I'm doing this for me, not for the rest of the world. I'm doing this because this is important for me to have a higher quality life and live it in a higher quality way. Would that be right?
Absolutely. And had I felt that way 20 years ago, so I feel for the people who aren't, that are doing it for the wrong reasons, because I did it for the wrong reasons for 20 years and it didn't work. It was only until I realized that it was, really it was for me and how I felt and what the quality of life I wanted to have. And I believe that was also keto was a key factor, but I believe that the two together are what caused success today.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely radiating, may I say. I want to just show you, you sent me some pictures. I didn't have enough time to kind of get them all technically fancily put on, but I just want to show people the pictures that you sent me so we see what we're talking about. And it's quite remarkable. So we have here this picture. I don't know if you can explain what that was, when it was, what.
Sure. So the picture on the left was me about 2 to 3 years ago. So the difference in those pictures for me when I looked at them side by side was, I remember the picture on the left. We were out at a sunflower patch and it was absolutely beautiful around me. My husband to be was with me, my kids, and I remember being absolutely miserable in that picture. It was hot. I was standing. I wasn't enjoying that moment at all because of, I was just so uncomfortable. The picture on the right is a picture of me just a couple days ago, and, just being completely happy and content and relaxed and just loving where I'm at. And I can definitely tell by the looks on both of the faces that there was a shift in not only my physical, but my mental as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the skin. There's a massive difference in your skin quality as well.
Yeah,
Did you know?
people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that you're much more content and relaxed. Here's some other ones. Maybe explain these as well.
So the top picture was me. I wish I would have taken one at the top picture was me when I started my keto journey. I had lost some weight before I started my keto journey, but I still, the weight was coming off, but I wasn't getting the physical, feeling better with energy and stuff like that. So the top one was me about a year ago. And the bottom one is about 3 or 4 months ago. So you can really tell the difference in, this obviously the size, definitely going down. And I do keep track of that, with pictures. I take them all the time because sometimes that scale doesn't move, but you can take a picture and be like, wow, it really is still working, even though that scale's not moving.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you about that just before I show the last picture, which I think is amazing. I'm very much against scales. I mean, it's very tempting, of course, but I'm very much against it because scales don't show all the truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Just because you're losing weight doesn't mean you're losing fat, first of all. You might, first of all, be losing water, or you might be losing, something worse like muscle. And so that's not necessarily giving you the full picture. And second of all, things can be, when you're losing fat, the fat cells can be actually filled up with water in the meantime. And so the weight is still there, but the fat has gone. So what's your opinion on going on scales? Well, what would you say about that?
So most people, start with, they want to jump on that scale all the time and they see that number decrease. But unfortunately, that number does stop moving at some point and it'll sit at the same number for quite a while. But there's still some amazing things going on in your body. So I measure, I take pictures. I do what I need to stay motivated and to know that what you're doing is still making a difference. And I used to even be a little more obsessed about that in the beginning. Now I really try to focus on just how I feel. I mean, if you feel good and you're doing all the right stuff and you're putting all the right stuff in your body, it's working. You don't need a number to validate that, and you don't even really need pictures to validate it. Just knowing how you feel and knowing that you're doing all the right things, it will work. It just takes time, and especially if you're doing it in a healthy way, it just takes some time. So I would say put the scales away.
Put the scales away. Fantastic. I want to ask you about the keto diet and the use of ketones. I just want to show this picture, though. I think explain a little bit about that picture and then just tell us how you're doing all this.
So the picture on the left is at my very highest weight. So currently I've lost 96 pounds doing the keto journey, but I did start at 416 pounds. So, and so I've lost more weight since, in the whole big scheme of things. The one on the left is me at my very highest weight at 416 pounds. And then the one on the right that was Valentine's Day in February. So, it's a little, I've lost a little more since then, but yeah, just the two together I just looked at them and thought, wow, I'm really in a better mental place and I'm definitely better physically.
Magnificent. So Joanne, we all want to know, how are you doing it?
Well, so I started, just a little background. I have had, 2 weight loss surgeries, but so I started again at 416. I had the lap band. I don't know if you remember that, but that was the awful first weight loss surgery where it just didn't work. I had the surgery and gained weight from that. And then the second surgery I had was about 10 years ago. It was the gastric sleeve. I lost some weight on that and then regained all of that back. So I just wanted to add that because, this journey has been a long, hard journey for me. Trying to do things the easy way, trying to do things the quick way. And one day I was at a wedding and a friend started talking to me about keto. And I did a lot of research, a couple of months of research on just what it does to, change things in your body. And so I started keto, and I follow there's three different types. There's a lazy, a dirty, and a clean. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but I do count things, but I would consider myself more of a lazy keto. I stay low carb. I try to eat under 20 net carbs a day. I drink a lot of water, and I drink ketones. So ketones keep me in ketosis around the clock. And so my body is burning ketones for fuel instead of glucose. And so I feel amazing. That's the big difference, is that when I started keto and I got rid of carbs and sugars, and started drinking ketones, really the draw was the energy and the sleep and the brain function and just how I felt, which gave me the hope that the weight would come off.
Wow, it sounds fascinating. And a lot of people I know of that are doing keto without ketones, right? They seem to, first of all, it seems to do them very well, but they have a problem that, first of all, it's very difficult and it's very not easily sustained.
Correct.
Plus, they have all this kind of keto flu at the beginning and all sorts of difficulties. And I think the biggest complaint I've heard is that for some reason they come off it. So they have a sandwich or they have some carbs or whatever. Poof, they've been kicked out of ketosis and they have to go through the whole process sometimes again, including all those keto flus and things like that. Mm-hmm. Were you on keto before drinking ketones?
Yes, I've been on keto a year. I started drinking ketones last October. So I was on keto, for 5 months before I started ketones. And you're absolutely correct. It's very hard to maintain a state of ketosis. So much can kick you out. Hidden sugars in food, stress, lack of sleep. I mean, so many different key elements that can kick you out of ketosis. So I started ketones. And again, it was more about, the person that talked to me and educated me about ketones. It was more about, my draw to her talking about her energy and her sleep and her muscle preservation and things that I had been missing. So I started researching ketones and decided that was kind of what it was for me. And I can't imagine never drinking them, ever not drinking them again.
Really, so it made a massive difference to your
so much difference. Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a lifestyle.
And I check my blood ketone levels a couple times a week just because I want to make sure that there's different things I'm not eating or drinking that is kicking me out or making it harder. I'm never not in ketosis when I check. It still amazes me. I just, I check just because I want to make sure, and sure enough, and I use a blood meter. A lot of people use urine sticks, and those aren't the most accurate.
So we're getting somebody watching us from Canada. Sheila Kosolovsky is saying hi. So you've already got people coming in from there. And we've got lots of likes coming in and loves and things like that. So, so you're really encouraging, you're really helpful. And I love the way that you're just so open about it and willing to help. I need to ask you, are you willing to do this again if we do this in the future or something like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. I still have, a ways to go on my journey. When I started this, I had over 200 pounds to lose. So I'm only a little over halfway. So I still have a ways to go. So yeah, I would love to.
Wonderful. So in the meantime, Joanna, thank you very much for being on the Health and Wellness Show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming in.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye for now. So there was Joanna. What a wonderful guest to have. What a wonderful person. What a personality, and completely open and willing to give of herself. And I think this is so obvious on her face, so obvious on her posture, and those beautiful pictures that she showed on the journey. And it just is so encouraging to me personally. I'm doing this on I got my own journey here, but also for everybody else watching. So in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us on this pilot of Health and Wellness.